The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, today on Aging Horizons we're going to be talking about Medicare and SHIP, and we have with us one of our favorite guests, Janet Stelman, who's the SHIP Director for the state of Montana over at the Office on Aging. She's got a lot of great information about Medicare, all those great benefits that you can get from Medicare, and we're going to talk about COVID as well as helping programs. We have a great show for you, so stay tuned.
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
Receiving help for Ella has been life-changing, and the best word for it is relief. I was the therapist, I was the aide, and I couldn't be the mom because emotionally you're just to your wits' end, you're trying to survive.
I provide care for the Harrises, specifically their daughter Ella. Respite care is extremely challenging, but the rewards that you receive from it are 100 times more than working with a child that doesn't have special needs. Once they get something, it's everything. It's a you celebrate. You don't just enjoy those moments. You celebrate every moment that you get, that you guided them to that next step.
Respite. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. Will you provide it? Call 800-224-6034 or visit respite.mt.gov.
It went from survival to enjoying life and being able to be a mom again.
Brought to you by the Montana Broadcasters and this station.
Hello everyone and welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Kimmy Everman, and as I said in our open, we're talking Medicare today, as we do once a month on this show. And we have with us a really special guest who knows all about Medicare and about SHIP, which is the program that helps you with your Medicare needs. And it's Janet Stelman. Janet, nice to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you back. Now, let's start out talking about just the ABCs, if we could, just so we have a groundwork.
Okay, so we have Medicare, the traditional model, which is Medicare Part A, which is your hospital coverage, Part B, which is your doctors and outpatient coverage, Part D is your the Medicare drug benefit. Mm-hmm. On the other side, the other way you could get Medicare if you didn't want to go the original route is through Medicare Part C or Medicare Advantage plans or Medicare health plans are called. Right. And that's where the government gives these private companies a pot of money and says, here, you take care of the person's Medicare benefits, and they have to cover everything that traditional Medicare covers. Sometimes they cover a little bit extra. So,
thus Medicare Advantage.
Yes.
Okay, so good. We've got a good baseline. Now let's talk about something that's been really important over the last couple of years, and that's Medicare and COVID coverage.
Right. So Medicare has provided lots of information about what kind of coverage it's going to cover. So the COVID-19 vax helps reduce the risk of severe illness from COVID-19 by working with the body and the natural defenses to safely develop protection or immunity. So the COVID-19 vax is going to be covered. You should pay $0 for that. It's important that when you go get your COVID vaccine that you take your Medicare card, your red, white, and blue card, because that's how they're going to bill Medicare. Okay. Even if you're in a Medicare Advantage plan, you still want to take your little red, white, and blue card so they can bill.
And what you're saying, though, is, and let's just be clear, bring that card along because the place will actually get paid. You just won't pay.
Right.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay, good. Thanks, Janet.
Yeah. And so the other thing Medicare will pay for is the monoclonal cocktail, they call it, or antibody treatment. That's paid for Part B. If you've tested positive for COVID-19 and if you're at higher risk for developing severe symptoms and possible hospitalization, they will give that to you. So if you're a mild to moderate case, you'll pay $0 during this public health emergency, and make sure that your doctor's a Medicare provider. And what that monoclonal cocktail is, it's actually an infusion that the doctor must give. So
okay, so you have to go to the doctor's office for that.
Right.
Okay. What about the at-home tests? Because, we're hearing about you can get these free tests if you go online and try to get some COVID tests sent to your home.
Well, right. So Medicare will, if you go to your doctor, you'll get to pay $0 for lab, pharmacy, doctor, hospital. If they, as long as they accept Medicare, it'll be a $0 co-payment for you to get that test.
So those are different than the home ones. Those
right.
are the
That's the in one.
Exactly. Okay.
So when it comes to the over the counter, or the ones that we've been hearing about lately, Medicare doesn't pay for over the counter COVID tests.
Good
so
to know.
We recommend that, or some Medicare Advantage plans might pay for it, but traditional Medicare is not going to pay for it. So the best thing we can suggest is to go to order your COVID test from www.covidtest.gov. Or else you can go to www.usps.com/COVID tests. There you can order 4 tests. It'll be sent to you from the federal government. These are tests that give you an answer within 30 minutes. So also it takes about 7 to 12 days to get shipped to you.
Okay.
So that's one way to get some of those tests. So Medicare covers and you pay nothing to get those tests around the community, going back to the community to try to get those tests if you've run out of the COVID over-the-counter tests. So,
sure.
So that they cover that. They also cover some tests for related respiratory conditions to aid in the diagnosis of COVID-19. So if you've taken a test and maybe it's come back negative, but you're still getting some really bad symptoms and respiratory, they'll run some tests on you. And as long as it's related to the COVID, the testing of it, it's the diagnostic part of it's going to be covered. So
great.
Medically necessary hospitalizations still have to pay deductibles and co-payments and co-insurances. Some other things, expanded telehealth services. So if you don't want to leave your home or you don't want to go to the doctor's office, most providers will do that. So
that sounds great, Janet, and so glad to hear that Medicare is being so proactive.
Right.
Regarding COVID, and I'm assuming the vaccine, you also included the booster in that's
right.
covered as well?
Right.
Great. Well, folks, there's a lot of information regarding the Medicare coverage of COVID, and you want to make sure that you talk to your doctor. You can take those tests at home. Maybe you're still having symptoms. Call your doctor. If you don't know what to do or who to call, you can call a SHIP counselor. We're going to put their name up or their number up on the screen, and you can call them and get the information that you need. But your doctor should know. He or she should be able to tell you whether or not there will be a charge, whether or not you actually need another COVID test. Maybe the one at home might be right, might be wrong. So you want to make sure that you're talking to your doc and making sure that you know what's going on with that. So come back, we have a whole lot more for you.
With as many as 1 in 10 Americans at risk for Alzheimer's or some other form of dementia, chances are someone you know and love will receive that diagnosis. When that happens, you may well feel devastated, but know that you are not alone. Help is available. You don't have to face dementia by yourself. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
It's been 27 years. I never thought I'd still be smoking, but here I am, COPD and all. I'm about to have a granddaughter. There's so much to show her, but I'm scared I won't be able to keep up like I used to. I kind of gave up on myself on quitting. But it's different now. I want to be here for her and for my daughter.
When I stopped showing up, Jim showed up at my door. He took me to the hospital in town to get me help. That's the day Jim saved my life.
Everyone has a role to play in preventing suicide. Know the signs and don't be afraid to speak up. If someone you know is in crisis or emotional distress, the only wrong thing to say is nothing at all. Call 800-273-TALK or text MT to 741-741.
Every generation produces heroes, men and women who step forward to defend our country in time of need, no matter the personal cost to themselves. And though we can never fully repay them, we can make sure they have access to low-cost, long-term care when they need it. That's what Montana's Veterans Homes are all about. If you've got a hero in need in your family, call us. We can help.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're here with Janet Stillman, the State SHIP Director, today talking about Medicare. Janet, glad to have you.
Thanks for having me again.
So we were talking in the first segment about COVID coverage with Medicare, and there was a couple other things we wanted to talk about real quickly before we moved on with that. One was the COVID antibody.
Right, and that'll be covered under Part B, and what that test does is it's an FDA authorized test that helps you to see if you've developed immunity, immune response, and that you may not be at the immediate risk of reinfection. So that test is paid $100. You'll have to pay $0 for that. It covers to see if you just make sure that you have some antibiotics stored up.
Right.
The other important thing I really want to talk about is, with this whole pandemic, it's brought out the scammers. So you really want to be careful and don't give out your Medicare information, your Medicare number especially. Don't give out your bank account information. Nobody should be calling you and charging you for COVID tests or to charge you to get a COVID test. Just be real careful, because it's a perfect opportunity for the scammers to come out and try to get you.
And if you have a scammer call you, before you do anything, you can always call a SHIP counselor and ask them, right?
Right, a SHIP counselor, or you can call your SMP, which is Senior Medicare Patrol, but the same number, and we'll put it up on the screen. So
okay, that sounds good. Let's talk a little bit about mental health coverage under Medicare, because I think that's important to a lot of folks. And I don't know that we've talked about that before, so let's do it.
And so I just kind of wanted to talk about that today, because this has been a long 2 years, and who knows how much longer it's going to go on. So, people are getting kind of down and, kind of depressed about this, or anxious, or, they may be. So
lonely,
I just wanted to,
isolated, all those things. Yeah.
So, and I just wanted to talk about that and make sure that people know it's okay to get help. There's a lot of people that are out there getting help, and it's okay. So I wanted to cover some of the just kind of go over what Medicare covers for that. So
let's do it.
So the behavioral health care through Medicare, it's services and programs to help diagnose and treat mental health illnesses. NAMI, or the National Alliance for Mental Illness, describes a mental illness as a condition that affects a person's thinking, feelings, or mood. So that can be depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar, stuff like that. So if a person was to need inpatient treatment, Medicare Part A would pay for that, or would help pay for that. Also, outpatient treatment, which is medically necessary. and was provided by a Medicare provider. So some of those services could be individual or group therapy, family counseling, RXs, prescriptions that may need to be administered by a doctor that can't be self-administered, so like injections, those would be covered. In order for it to get covered, the person that's doing it must be a general practitioner, a nurse practitioner, physician's assistant, psychiatrist, clinical psychologist, clinical social worker. So it need to make sure that they accept Medicare. The other thing is there's prescription coverage through Medicare Part D. So make sure that your prescription is on the formulary. And if it's not, you and your doctor could ask for exceptions to get that covered for you. And all prescription drug plans must cover antidepressants, anticonvulsants, and antipsychotic meds. So very important. You can ask your doctor who they recommend if you don't know anybody.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk about how to access these services, because they sound like great services.
Right.
But, I can see myself sort of sitting at home going, God, I don't know who to call. What do I do? So let's talk about it from that perspective. There's somebody out there that wants really very much to get some help. What's the first thing they should do?
Well, first thing, talk to their doctor. Do they have any any referrals that they can make? Another thing is use the provider tool on Medicare.gov. So you can put in your zip code or your city town and look for different kind of physician, doctors or counselors or social workers. So that's very important, and I just wanted to mention that real quick, the mental health.
And they will, when you call these folks, they're going to be able to tell you if they take Medicare or not.
Right.
So that, and in using that, now talk about the tool a little bit, because I didn't know about that.
Well, it's on the Medicare.gov website, and it's just find your provider. So you can go on there and put in, say that you want to find a clinical social worker in your town. By putting that into that little tool on Medicare.gov, it will bring up the providers in your area that accept Medicare.
Right.
So
Medicare.gov is a website that you can actually go to. You type in what you want. Once you sort of take a look and see what you're needing to do, and then it can come back with hopefully a few names that will be referral resources for you.
And another place you can always look to is ask your friends. Do they know somebody? Do they have a good counselor that they go to, or a good social worker, or
Janet, it's so important, and I just want to mention the stigma of this. We really need to fight against that, and we really need to remember that these are hands up, not handouts, not, there's no judgment, that it's confidential, and these kinds of visits can be very helpful for folks.
Right. Yeah. And it's, like I said, it's been a long 2 years. So
it really has. Folks, no smarter words were ever spoken. It's been a long 2 years, and you really want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself as best you can. Now stay with us. We have a whole lot more for you.
I was diagnosed with diabetes in 1992, and I went into denial. It made me angry. I was a professional chef, and I didn't want to change my eating style. It took me a long time to get serious about managing my health. My perspective changed from resentment to one of loving my body, the container for my spirit. Getting help from my diabetes educator supported my goals of improved self-care. I want to feel good and have a great life. My diabetes educator helps me do this.
In 20 years at an electric utility, I've seen the hardships many of our neighbors face with high winter heating bills.
Ross Holter, Flathead Electric Co-op.
That's why I donate to Energy Share of Montana. I just hate the thought of senior citizens, and young kids especially, being cold in the winter. Donate to Energy Share. Help your neighbor stay warm.
To donate, call 888-779-7589 or go to EnergyShareMT.com. Energy Share, you can help your neighbor stay warm.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
I have a complete new respect for the Delta. Everyone is going to be exposed to the Delta. This is not the virus that we saw in the beginning of the pandemic. This is so much more dangerous, so much more communicable. People get sicker quicker. Now the question is do we want to have a barrier of protection, of antibody protection via the vaccine? Or do you want to just go at it by yourself? The hospitals are full of people that are unvaccinated, and they are just not full of people that have had the vaccine. The goal is to prevent people from getting hospitalized and dying, and that's exactly what the vaccine is doing.
Hi folks, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're doing our Medicare Monthly show today, and we have with us Janet Stellman, who is the State SHIP Director. Janet, good to have you. Let's talk a little bit, we're going to talk about the helping programs, because those are pretty important. But before we move on to that, can we talk a little bit more about vaccines?
Right, yep, let's talk about the vaccines. The first one let's talk about is the flu shot. So this is covered under Part B, and a person can get one flu shot per flu season. Okay. And it will be $0 if your doctor or healthcare provider accepts Medicare.
Okay.
The second one is the pneumonia shot. It's also covered by Part B. It covers 2 different shots. So it covers the first shot, and then the second, which is at least after 1 year, you can get your second shot.
Okay.
So,
okay.
And that also will be $0 as long as your provider accepts assignment.
Okay.
The third shot I want to talk about is the shingles shot. So
important.
Yes. So Part A and B does not cover the shingles shot. It's usually covered under your Part D or your drug plan. So you need to contact your Part D plan for more info on how to go about getting that.
Okay. All right. So just use your little card and give them a call and say you want to get that shingles shot taken care of.
And if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, just call the Medicare Advantage plan and they'll let you know. So
okay, that sounds great. Well, let's talk about helping programs, because that's another one that I love to just say first. Hand up, not hand out.
It's a big help. I mean, some of these programs can save our beneficiaries thousands of dollars and can mean a difference between eating and not. So the first program I want to talk about is LIS, or it's Low Income Subsidy, or maybe you've heard about it as Extra Help. Everything seems to have 3 different names to it. Right. Extra Help is a program that helps pay a person's Part D or drug benefit costs. So Social Security has on their socialsecurity.gov website, they have a place where you can apply for that. It's a real quick 1-page, 2-page application, real quick. And what that program covers is it can help with your premium cost, it could help with the deductible that the plans have, and it could help with your drug costs through the year. So your co-payments could be anywhere from like $1.50 all the way up to $9. You know.
Wow, that's really a great help.
Right, and so it's really a really beneficial program because we know how expensive medications can be.
Right, exactly.
So, and if you need help with that application, you can call your SHIP counselor.
Great.
And they will help you with that application. The second program I wanted to talk about was the Medicare Savings Program. So the Medicare Savings Program is a Medicare program, but it's administered by the Medicaid office here in town, or here in the state.
Yeah.
So Medicare Savings Program, you might have heard them as QIMBY, SLIMBY, or QI. Mm-hmm. Just 3 different levels for different income levels, but the Cadillac model I like to talk about is QIMBY, or Qualified Medicare Beneficiary. It will pay your Part B premium. If by chance you have a Part A premium, it'll also help pay that. And it'll act as a supplement to Medicare.
Now, why would you have, let's back up. Why would you have a Part A premium?
Well, if you didn't have enough work quarters to qualify for premium-free Part A, you might have to pay for your Part B, and it could be anywhere from like $250 to $480, I think it is. So it's quite expensive, so this program would really help with that.
Yeah, and again, really important to know your SHIP counselor in your community and know how you can access that help.
Right. And Quimby also acts like a supplement to Medicare. So traditional Medicare is 80-20 split. Medicare pays 80, the beneficiary pays 20. But if you're on Quimby, QMB is going to pick up that 20%. The other two programs, SlimB and QI, those are just different income levels, and they just cover the Part B premium. So the Part B premium is $170 a month. So that comes out to be an almost $2,000 savings a year just being on the Medicare savings programs.
Yep.
So,
and then let's just talk briefly before we go to the next one about Medicaid dual eligibility.
Right. So another helping program is, of course, Medicaid. So if you fit into the income and resource guidelines, Medicaid's a good option for getting some help with your medical bills, especially if they're higher.
And can SHIP counselors help discuss that?
They can help
or
with
get
the
you to the right person?
Yep. They can help with the application, help you fill it out, or you could go to apply.mt.gov and apply for Medicaid yourself.
Okay.
Or you can also apply for the Medicare Savings Program there too.
Okay. And then finally we have the Big Skyrx program.
Right, and the Big Skyrx program is a Montana program that started through the Schweitzer administration. It is for people that usually don't qualify for a lot of things, or maybe because their income's a little bit higher, or the things that they own, their resources are high. This program has a very generous income guideline, but it also doesn't look at resources or the things that people own.
Oh, wow.
So the benefit of the Big Skyrx is to help pay the Medicare D drug benefit premium up to like $36 or something a month. So they're very helpful, and we'll put their number on the screen.
Super. So there's several different levels that you could actually look at. If you did need some assistance, again, hand up, not hand out, and give a SHIP counselor a call. Right? And it's real easy. There's no judgment. It's confidential. The SHIP counselor has nothing they want to sell you.
Right.
They're objective bystanders in this. They just have really good information.
Yep, and anything that happens there is going to be your decision. The SHIP counselor will not ask for, or will not make that decision for you. They'll help answer your questions and just be there for you. And they also have a lot of other information that they can
great
give to you.
resources. Janet, it's been great having you here today. So much good information. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. And folks, remember, it's a hand up, not a handout. Call a SHIP counselor. Real easy to start. For Aging Horizons, I'm Kimmy Everman.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.